fall, and so we're a little out of practice. So anyway, so we're talking about why HILS is unique and the flexibility. And what's nice as well is that this is primarily an online degree program that is very flexible in terms of when you access the information, how you do your homework, if you will. But we do ask that you come to Ann Arbor during 3 institutes during the year. So our students in HILS, both the PhD and the Masters of Science students, hail from sort of all over the world. You'll see here in the continental United States, we need someone from Hawaii. So if anyone knows Hawaii people, send them our way. Because we're an online degree program, we actually can only accept students who are US residents. So the international students that you see there are actually PhD students. The background of our learners is very diverse. Obviously, folks who are focused on computing and information, but also health science professionals, engineers, behavioral and social scientists, and those who are really interested in organizational sciences, policy, ethics, that kind of thing. So this is our some members of our current cohort. We've got physicians who are thinking about therapeutic clinical trials and surgical innovation, other physicians who are thinking about behavioral health and organizing a health system. We are thinking about pre-hospital care, out-of-hospital care, connecting all of that together, quality improvement, someone who works in the technical side of things, thinking about the impact that data can have on improving healthcare. We've got a medical student who's actually taking time out from their medical studies to get this degree program. And we also have a medical sales representative who's thinking about the implementation of evidence-based algorithms within electronic health records. So many people have started hearing this term called learning health systems. And learning health systems engage in these learning cycles to make measurable and important changes around a health problem of interest. So we call this learning cycle the loop or the cycle, or you'll hear it talked about in a variety of ways. But basically what we're talking about is a health problem of interest that a learning community has formed around. And people are thinking about the performance of the system and how it's generating data, how we take that data and convert it to knowledge, to understand, to learn, to predict, and then to take that evidence and turn it back into performance and evaluate it to keep these cycles going. So the infrastructure that happens around these services or structures around this health problem of interest, we think about the technology for capturing the change, how to support the learning, what are the policies that might govern data or govern how data is used, how do we technologically share things, and then how do we promote behavior change. So we're talking about things like healthcare data for decision-making, policies and ethics, implementation science, and using tech to promote change. And so all of the courses in this degree program focus on every component of this loop. So the online degree program is a complete 27 credit hours, and you need to complete a learning cycle project, which I'll talk about in just a minute. But what you end up with is a full-fledged Masters of Science degree program from the University of Michigan Medical School, with all of the rights and privileges and everything else that entails. So we have offered what we call an asynchronous learning opportunity, meaning the lectures and the homework and everything is already in a learning management system for you so that you can access things at your own pace and space, meaning you don't have to show up Tuesdays from 4 to 5 p.m. every Tuesday to take class, if you will. But we also have synchronous options for class projects, mentoring, discussion forums, that kind of thing. you are able to look at challenging information, discuss things with co-learners. Assignments are due on specific days of the week, usually Wednesdays and Sundays, but sometimes Thursdays, Sundays, depending on things. And you absolutely positively can expect to spend 8 to 10 hours per week per course. So if you were going full time, you would be taking 4 courses. That's almost a 40-hour week, which is sort of like a full-time job. So I just want to point that out because I think it's important to realize that even though things are online, this is not like an executive master's where you're kind of skimming through things, or this is really sort of a deep dive master's program that's going to be heavy on reading and viewing recorded lectures and contributing thought pieces and homework and that kind of thing. So for those folks who are like, well, I don't understand what these topics might be, or, what does this really mean? We do have some open access content that you can take a peek at. So Vinod Vidaswaran is one of the professors who teaches in the degree program. He also has an online open course called Information Extraction from Free Text Data in Health. So for those of you who are sort of informationists, right, it's about using natural language processing and other techniques to pull free text data from an electronic health record and try to understand what that means. We will release these slides to you so that you can actually check this out on the Coursera platform. But like I said, it's open access and free, so people can get a sense of what are the classes in our degree program kind of look like. All of the courses, like I said, are embedded in a learning management system. Here at the University of Michigan, we use Canvas. And so the degree program basically looks like this. The assignments, of course, are going to vary by course, but you'll have videos, you'll have recorded lectures, reading assignments, discussions, quizzes, group assignments, that kind of thing. The structure, Ann Sales is one of the founding directors of the program and now is at the University of Missouri, sort of one of the world's experts in implementation science. So as we are learning about the information that occurs in a learning cycle, the ultimate goal is for you to be able to take that science and information and skills and apply it in a real world environment. And so as part of that, we want you to get your feet wet doing a learning cycle project so that you too can, in a safe space, pretty low risk, even utilizing places or spaces where you're already working, try to do a learning cycle project where you understand the data, you make some sense from the data, and suggest implementation changes. So in the fall term, as kind of you're getting settled into the program, you'll think about what your projects might be, meet with the advisors. In the winter term, start thinking about your project and preparing for the summer project. And then when you're enrolled in, when you're going to do your learning cycle capstone project or your learning cycle project, you'll also enroll in my class, shameless plug, LHS 622, which is about implementation and dissemination science. And like I said, you'll execute your projects and reflect on your experiences of what it means to try to get a project up and running. What are the challenges? What are the successes? And sharing with one another how best to make things work. So this is an example of a learning cycle project that was done by Dr. Monesi. So Rama is actually a very recent PhD graduate of this program and plans on joining us as faculty, actually. When he started the program, he worked in the operating room and was looking at sort of, how can I say this the right way? I'll just say it, retained surgical instruments. So basically, when you do surgeries, the counts going in should be the same as the counts coming out. And a retained surgical instrument should be a never event, right? However, the challenge is that they were happening And so Rama's project was trying to understand, what's the risk? Why aren't people reporting it? What are the barriers to reporting when a retained surgical instrument happens? And so those are the types of implementation science and understanding of the healthcare data that we have that you can utilize to then implement change and make good progress towards safety. For Catherine Irwin, who graduated in 2021, she was really interested in like a practical framework, and she was looking at data and performance, but really for her, it was about the whole concept of how do you create a learning cycle project that she found valuable. So let me deep dive just a little bit into what a course sequence may or may not look like. So this is a one-year plan. Like I said, individuals would take 4 3-credit courses each fall and winter term. Fall term here at Michigan is sort of late August to mid-December. Winter term is going to be early January to sort of mid to late April. And then spring summer actually extends May to August. And in the summer is when you would do that research project. We do have institutes that we have people come to. So one is orientation, which is in August. We'll have a class institute in February, and then again in June. And then our goals are listed there. And the really fun part here is graduation. For a 2-year plan, people may want to take 3 credits. They may want to take 6 credits. We are going to space things out so that you don't have to do your summer learning project in that first spring, summer, but rather truly do it as a capstone after you've had the opportunity to go through all of the courses. We think that's going to work better for people. But again, there may be individuals who say, no, I'm ready to go. And let's flex and let me do the project in spring, summer, so that then I could be done the following winter. Let me make sure we're going ahead forward here. So the slides before had a lot of numbers on there. I just wanted to go through and show you sort of the different types of courses that this degree program offers. So when we think about health infrastructures and policies, we have LHS 650, which is a ProSem that really talks about what does it mean when we're saying health infrastructure, what are the policies that govern data. We have an ethics and policy course that's offered in the winter term to continue the discussion of those issues. We have implementation science courses that are really about, okay, you've got this evidence, you've got this data. How do you make change in a complex organization with people and places and spaces that really don't want to change necessarily? There's the entire data science component, talking about exploratory data analysis, how to represent knowledge once you've got that data, how is it meaningful for people to look at things, and then also thinking about learning cycle informatics. So what are the structures and programs and things that could help get the data out of where it is and get the data into a more understandable format. The picture there is of Chuck Friedman, who's the chair of the department, and is working, in this learning health systems and sciences space from the very beginning. There was a question in the chat about getting information about the syllabi. We're going to release these slides, and we're also going to give you a connection to the website for the department. And many of the syllabi live on the website, and they're open for everyone to review. Then we also have a research methods course that is really about how to make sense of the data that you're collecting. So Grace Hone just recently graduated. She had graduated with a PharmD and now has a Master's of Science in HILS because she was really looking at this as the future way to connect basically chemotherapy and genetics and prompts within the electronic health record to make sure that patients are getting the correct chemotherapeutic agents that they need based on their tumor genetics as well as their own individual genetics. So really cutting edge kind of stuff that, you know, sort of without all of these different components, as a PharmD, she wouldn't be able to sort of move and lead those changes forward. So a quick note about the on-campus institutes. They are required. We think it's really important to be here in person, in real time and space, to connect with your classmates, to connect as a cohort, to meet the faculty, as well as just help formulate our community. The institutes are meant to reinforce the current coursework that you're learning and to apply information in real time. So thinking about challenges within the healthcare environment that can be solved by the content that you're actually learning. For those institutes, we try to put them in sort of convenient places and spaces where you come in for usually 2 days, 2 nights, if you will, like a Sunday, Monday, or Monday, Tuesday, to get these active learning sessions, these skill developments, opportunities for one-on-one mentoring, and then socializing, because we actually do like to have a lot of fun here. So the goals when you graduate are to graduate students who are really change makers, who are improvers of the healthcare system through data, through information, through systematic change. And so that's really the goal. In terms of careers, I think the sky is the limit here, in all honesty. People are crafting their own places and spaces. We've got folks who are leading the charge in implementation science, people who are leading health innovators. We have recent graduates who are actually working in a system that manages electronic health records for federally qualified healthcare centers in the Western United States. And so thinking about how they can transform their organization into a learning health system, pretty much if you can think it, you can do it. I know that sounds really silly, but the truth of the matter is, in learning health systems right now, informatics and the key portion of implementation science, being able to make that change, make that improvement, is really kind of where the rubber hits the road, if you will. I've talked a little bit about where folks are. One thing I would say is to be careful a little bit, because we might suck you in and get you transferred into the PhD program. Angie, if I'm correct, I think this is you now.
Correct. Thank you, Dr. Stolberg.
Okay, we're having a little hard time hearing you.
Now?
Sort of. Your mic is always funny.
No, I'm sorry. Any better?
Yep, that'll work.
Is that better? Okay. So I'm going to cover a few of the student services side of things. To begin with, advising. Students are paired with a faculty advisor who will have live office hours, typically via Zoom, or you can contact them via email. And I did want to note that you're going to be taught and mentored by the same faculty who teach in the residential program. So for example, pictured here is Dr. Rachel Richardson at our HILS online orientation session in August of 2021. She's a professor in her department, and she conducts research on the quality and usability of data from electronic health records for research. And here she's advising one of the new HILS online learners who has an interest in learning health systems to improve patient outcomes. And you'll also have easy access to me as a program manager through email, individual or group Zoom meetings, Slack, or the HILS online community page in Canvas. So there's lots of variety of ways to contact me and Dr. Stolberg. And the one thing that I did want to point out is that even though this is an online program, you'll be supported by real people such as myself and Dr. Stolberg and other faculty, as we truly want to make this a full learning experience as a Michigan student. So being a student in our online program, you'll have access to an abundant variety of student support services, such as the Rackham Graduate School, which has student communities, such as students with children, students with disabilities, LGBTQ+ students, health and well-being resources, The Office of Graduate and Postdoctoral Studies, it overlaps somewhat with what Rackham offers for resources such as health and wellness, diversity, equity, and inclusion resources. And you'll also have access to the other university resources such as counseling and psychological services, Taubman Health Sciences Library, in addition to all other libraries on campus, students of color of Rackham. And listed here, these are just a few of those resources. So as I mentioned, there's an abundant variety of student support services for our online students. And tuition information is based on the 2022-2023 academic year. So please note that tuition and fees often change each year. So again, these are based on this year. So typically a student is going to take between 6 to 12 hours, 6 hours being part-time, 9 hours or more is considered full-time. So for example, if you're a part-time Michigan resident, tuition is $8,567. And if you're a non-resident taking 6 hours, which is part-time, it's $17,333. So for a full-time, that's 9 hours or more, tuition is $12,758 for Michigan residents and is $25,907 for non-residents. And then there's also a mandatory fee assessed each term. As you'll see here, there's registration fee, central student government fee, et cetera, for a total of $166.19. And we wanted to break it down for you even further. So if you were to complete the program in 1 year, this is what it would look like. So as a Michigan resident, that first fall semester is $12,758. Second semester, winter, is $12,758. And then that third semester, the spring summer term, is $4,376. That's giving you an estimated total of $29,832. And then as a non-Michigan resident, that first semester is $25,907. The following term in winter is $25,907. And then that spring summer term is $8,759. And that's going to give you an estimated total of $60,573. And again, this is based on the 2022-2023 data. And so that's subject to change. And then some additional expenses or technology needs that you'll want to consider, study materials such as books, notebooks. But a lot of our books can be found online for free, or you can check them out from our library. High-speed internet service is highly recommended. Computer equipment and software, this is what's recommended university-wide, is a webcam, RAM of 4 gigabytes, a microphone, headphones, compatible browser. And then additional expenses will be for travel expenses, like Dr. Stahlberg mentioned. Students will be required to attend the in-person institute sessions 3 times. And then application requirements. So we require a bachelor's degree with 1 statistics class. There is a personal and academic statement of purpose, and I'll talk more about that later. Resume or CV, transcripts, 3 letters of recommendation. And for these letters, you'll want to choose people who know you well and those that can provide an evaluation of your ability to perform and succeed at the graduate level. And often that might include a manager or a supervisor from work or school. And if possible, at least one of those letters should be submitted from a past or current professor or advisor who has supervised you in a job or internship. And I wanted to note that we no longer require the GRE. So now I'll review some tips for your statements, starting with your academic statement. And this is where you'll want to discuss your primary research area of interest. You'll want to reach out to potential advisors, 2 to 3 HILS faculty, to introduce yourself and discuss the potential fit to our program. And you'll want to do this before completing your academic statement of purpose. And you can read about each of our faculty on our website and choose those that perhaps are doing research or teach in an area of interest to you. And in that statement, you'll want to explain why you identified the potential advisors you did and the interactions that you've had with them. And in addition, you'll want to describe your understanding of learning health systems and what interests you about them. Describe any prior research experiences, courses, or projects that have prepared you for graduate study. And all of this is covered on the actual application, so you don't need to remember it right now. And then for your personal statement, this is different from your academic statement. And this is where you will get the opportunity to explain how your background and life experiences, other opportunities or challenges motivated your decision to pursue a graduate degree at the University of Michigan. So this should be more of a discussion of your journey that has led to your decision to seek a graduate degree. And you'll want to make sure that you do not repeat your academic statement of purpose here. And we have some resources on the learning and health systems that can help you with your applications. And I will send to you this information in email after the session, in addition to the other information that we discussed today. So to begin with, we have journal articles. The first one, Development of the Learning Health System Research Core Competencies, which discusses how the core competencies for learning health systems were developed. And next is a journal article written by the chair of the department, Dr. Chuck Friedman, that Dr. Stahlberg mentioned earlier. And then Josh Rubin, he's a program officer in our department. That title is Weaving Together a Healthcare Improvement Tapestry. Learning Health System brings together health IT data stakeholders to share knowledge and improve health. So be sure to check out that one. And in addition, a website link to the Learning Health Systems Open Access Journal, which is an open access journal that's freely available to read and download. And last is the Agency for Healthcare Research and Quality Learning Health Systems website, AHRQ. And this is an agency that funds LHS researchers, and you can go here to learn about different types of research that is funded by the agency. So again, I'll be sending you all these resources. And some application tips. Please be sure to proofread your statement carefully, ask a friend, colleague, or a mentor to also review it, paying special attention to typographical errors, grammar, punctuation, overall clarity, and submit all materials in a timely manner to prevent the delay in reviewing your application. So how to apply? Since we are a Rackham program, you will apply through the Rackham Graduate School website. You will complete their online application found on their website, and our website links directly to the application as well. On the site, you can upload all your materials in addition to sending them directly to us if needed at any point. We have two deadlines. First is February 1. Applicants who apply by this deadline are eligible for priority scholarships. So the scholarships are merit-based and candidates are reviewed holistically by the admissions committee. So get those applications in early. And then June 1 is the final application deadline to apply. And there are fees to apply, $10 if you're a Rackham student, $75 if you're a non-Rackham student. And we do have fee waivers available, so reach out to me if you're interested in obtaining a fee waiver. The application timeline, we aim to notify applicants 6 to 8 weeks after the receipt of the application. So again, please get those applications in early. And for transfer credit, at this time, we're not allowing credits to be transferred. However, if you have taken a course that is equivalent to a required course for the program, we may be able to review options for substitute electives or other course options. And this is our contact information with our website. You can find a lot of the information on the website. In addition, feel free to reach out to Dr. Stahlberg or myself at any time with questions. So at this time, we'd like to thank everyone for joining us on this call today and open it up for questions.
Fantastic. Before we do that, Angela Johnston, wondering if you wouldn't mind coming back online for just a second and maybe clarifying things, or if we missed something that you want to make sure that we cover, maybe, you know, a minute or two about your current classes, that kind of thing.
Okay, well, that all seems absolutely to be my experience. I no corrections, so that was great. I am currently taking full-time classes this semester, so I have 4 classes, and I guess I would say that really then what I'm learning is transformative, you know, for me, for my things that, and I've been in healthcare for like more than, I don't know, 25 years. but I'm learning, reframing things that I've been in the midst of and haven't been able to see clearly. I'm seeing new things about the programs that I'm in and the institutions that I serve. And I'm this knowledge, I am excited about the ability to use this to transform these systems too.
Thanks. So with that, we are happy to entertain questions. I know it's sort of later in the day, but please jump on. Hi, Miss Lindsay.
Yes. Hi, everybody. That was an excellent presentation. I knew from the beginning of when I saw this program, I knew it was definitely for me. And that was one of my, one of my questions was, you know, is it better if people do have more experience? Because I look younger, but I graduated from Michigan in 2008. So it's been a while. And so I've had a couple of years bounced around the healthcare industry, and I can definitely understand what Angela's saying about the knowledge being transformative. That's what I'm hoping for, is to be able to affect change in a real way. And so I guess one of my questions is how to approach your potential advisors. I mean, other than obviously looking up what their research is and what their mission is and the impact that they're having. Do you have any other advice that would be, you know, beneficial to connecting with our advisors and choosing?
Yeah, you know, so being on the receiving end a lot of those emails, I love it. What I think is really cool is when someone says, hey, you know, I'm really interested in the HILS online program. Here's my story. Here's, you know, what interested me about your work. Maybe could we get 10, you know, 15, 30 minutes together to talk about the program? And it really ends up like, honestly, 2-3 paragraphs, not even. You know, all of the faculty expect that they'll connect. Angie is really great at facilitating those connections, because sometimes, you know, people are a little anxious about, oh my God, this is a cold call kind of thing. So reaching out to Angie first, and who can then broker that connection, works well. You know, everyone who's teaching in this program is also teaching in the PhD program, and these classes are actually almost identical, if not similar, to the PhD program. And so you'll hear a lot people talk a lot about, oh, their research and the research interests and getting funded and that kind of thing. We recognize that this is a master's program, and the goal here is to upskill, right? And to get people speaking the language and being able to do the work. And oh, by the way, if some sort of research question or some sort of project comes out of it, that's great. But the expectation is not that, like, you're going to leave this program an NIH researcher. You might, but you don't have to. Angie, Angie Sullivan.
Yeah, I just was going to reiterate, Karen said that faculty are used to getting these emails. So just feel free to reach out. And if you happen to have any issues, do contact me, and I'm happy to help facilitate in any way.
Thank you, guys. It's so nice to meet you for the first time. Hopefully I'll meet you a bunch of times.
Absolutely.
That sounds great. We'd love it. Any other questions? I know sometimes it can be awkward to sort of unmute in front of strangers. So obviously, if you have additional questions or concerns, you can, you know, email us directly. But I see that Ms. Pamela is being brave, so have at it.
Hi. I was wondering how you work with other departments at the University of Michigan. Right now, I'm currently staff, but I work in a remote office out of Corpus Christi. I work in a hybrid office with Michigan Medicine, Neurology, and the School of Public Health Epidemiology Department. We're the basic stroke study. And I just see this as a really cool opportunity that everything finally lined up to do what I am built to do. So I'm just kind of interested in how you work with other departments, how closely you work with other departments when you have your students doing their own things and maybe still being employed somewhere else.
Yeah, so what's great, I think, about the University of Michigan, Michigan Medicine, is we are all enmeshed. So in addition to me being faculty in the Department of Learning Health Sciences, I'm also faculty in obstetrics and gynecology. I see patients a day and a half a week. Many of the faculty in the department, you'll notice, have joint appointments in the School of Public Policy or Public Health, in School of Information. You know, it ends up being like a half a degree of separation. Often, a lot of the folks doing research are doing team science. So they've got connections with other people. So that's, to me, one of the strengths of Michigan is that we are lucky enough to have 9 health science schools all affiliated with U of M. So in addition to, you know, nursing, medicine, dentistry, I always have to count them out: nursing, medicine, dentistry, pharmacy, kinesiology, public health, social work. What am I missing, Angie? Education at Dearborn, and health sciences in Flint. I think there's one more. We have a PA school. Like, so honestly, like, that's what's, I don't know, for folks who may be graduates from the University of Michigan, sort of like, if it doesn't exist, you just make it. Like, you just make it happen. That's why there's, you know, a club for left-handed people. Like, you just make it. I don't know. I'm also very rah-rah, I'm not gonna lie.
Same. When I was there, we had a pointless club that was putting the fear back into squirrels, because someone decided that the squirrels, they're not scared of you in Ann Arbor. So it was like, we had t-shirts. I was 19, don't blame me.
I remember you guys, actually. It didn't work.
No, it didn't. They didn't. I think they got more bold after that,
Yeah.
actually.
The squirrels are like heroes. People walk around with like pictures of squirrels. Yeah.
No, I swear we could have paid them to guard the M during like football games. We could have
Right.
probably paid them.
Yeah. Pamela, did I answer your question at all?
It actually sort of is the explanation of how I came to be like interested in your program. I've been on staff for 10 years in this remote office, and like, it's just, oh, there's all sorts of different departments that like have stuff that I'm interested in. But finally it all lined up where it's like, wait, this is the cross-functional place of my dreams.
That's awesome.
So I'm just very excited. I think it's finally all kind of lining up. So I'm looking forward to trying to talk with some of the professors in my application process. I just know there's a lot of stuff that I can see that there would be hybrid projects from where I'm at right now if I could convince them. So I'm just like, wow, this would be so cool.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Angela, do you want to maybe a high level 10,000-foot view of what you're thinking about doing for folks in Alaska? Just as a tangible example.
So a high level, my goal is to start a learning health system in Alaska. That's like there's a lot of things between, and a lot of people and a lot of time between now and then, but that's the end goal. I want to start with my 2 loves are EMS, pre-hospital care, and then healthcare system. And sometimes they don't really talk to each other, but like for my project this summer, I want to do like a bridging project between EMS and the hospital, because it's all part of healthcare, and like you got to have the back and forth data there.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And so just as another example, right, thinking about making connections, is we've got people in the department who are centered around the health problem of interest of out of hospital cardiac arrest, and how who are those that community of interest, who are those people that need to be at the table to think about what matters, what's important, where does the data come from, right? So from the 911 operator to the person who's calling 911 to the ambulance driver to, you know, how is the data in the system? What happens when you hit the emergency room? Like all of those things go into thinking about performance to data, and then taking that data to make sense of it and then saying, okay, what works in our system, right? And what's going to work in downtown Detroit is not going to work in Juneau, just won't. But there are pieces of that are transferable and are true across a variety of places and spaces. And so understanding how to parse out what is critical data and critical to making a thing, and what is operational or implementation that takes into account the people, places, spaces, policies of where you're trying to implement change is what's important. So yeah, it's interesting because it sounds like big, huge, audacious goals, but when you boil them down to like the component pieces, it's amazing how fast you can turn the lever for things.
All right. Well, I've actually got to get going, but this has been really interesting. Thank you so much. I look forward to moving forward with this process later on. All right. Well, you guys have a good one. Bye.
Thanks, you too. Thanks.
For the
And-
meeting. Bye.
Yeah, and again, we're happy to hang back just a little bit in case people have individual questions. You can always reach out to us directly. Thanks, Ava. As needed, watch for a follow-up email from Angie in terms of information and, in theory, the connections to the recording from today and everything else.
Thank you guys so much. This is a big help from the information that was just available, just reading it. Actually getting to walk through it was a big help. So thank you so much. And
Thanks for your interest.
Yep.
Awesome.
Okay, I'll see you guys. Thank you again, Angela. You too. And good luck.
Yeah, thank you. Well, and I look forward to meeting you. Yeah.
I'll see you next year. I'll see you in the fall. It'll be okay.
That sounds
All right.
great.
Thanks, guys.
Oh,
See you guys later.
nice.